Welcome everybody to the weekly energy update for energetically sensitives and empaths like yourself, or people who are just starting to awaken to a new reality. My name is Yona Brindis. I'm a professional energy healer and also trainer for other healers, and therefore I'm going to give you insights here of what you can expect in this next week, May 19th till 25th. We have a full moon, so even if you're not aware of the mechanics of energies, many of us know that moon cycles do affect our moods, they do affect our behavior. And so this particular full moon, you'll probably see a lot about this on YouTube. People are warning about it, but they're also giving you new hope. And this is kind of like what I'm trying to do with these energy updates. I've been doing these for years. First, just for the healers that work with me, and now for the public, and there's different layers of that. So in my Patreon channel, I go really deep into the mechanics. This week will be a very interesting energy tips video for Patreon subscribers and heart warriors, because I'm going into the details of mind control and gaslighting. So why am I mentioning this here? Because it's significant for this next week, guys. So many of you, as empaths, as energetically sensitives, have come across this problem with mind control, whether it be in your relationships, in your romantic or work relationships, within your family tribe, within the collective, and sometimes also within groups, especially spiritual groups. And this is a really, really big subject here, especially for the future, because our job here as awakening souls is to learn how to discern reality so that we can tune into this true essence of who we are, why we're here, what we can offer to the world. And this is not just significant for those of you who want to be of support to others or who want to directly work with others. This is significant for all of us as parents, as partners, as co-workers, as business owners. And there's a lot going on right now that really brings it to the forefront how we have been manipulated in the past. And I don't need to go into conspiracy theories or showing to you how media has been doing this, or how our collective, our society has been promoting things that are really not healthy for us. So all this is really as clear as day. It's the obvious. And so when talking about energies, moods, how we feel, the physical sensations, and what we can do about this, we cannot ignore that there is manipulation, or has been manipulation going on, and there are long-term effects of that. I want you to share with others what is going on for you right now, and also perhaps things that are working for you. This is why I do this publicly. Yes, it's good to see you. Thank you for the hearts. All right, so what are the themes here for this next week, guys? So there are, of course, different layers to this, and in the energy tips, I go through them layer for layer. Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, how it affects our relationships, socially, and energetically. Okay, in the energy updates here, I'm just giving you an overview. And the total overview really is this subject of self-mastery. Okay, so how can we determine our future? How can we determine our life? How can we tune into new ways of living that are more conducive for us, that represent and express ourself, our essence better? Because that's something that plays directly into our manifestation power. So the actual theme for next week is our manifestation power and the mechanics of manifestation, and why it has been so frustrating for us in the past to not really get this across. For those of us who are a little older, it starts with, the way we see the world, and it was really, really hard for us growing up in a world where there were values and virtues that we couldn't really connect with, and where we were perhaps even punished. Oh God, I love you. I love your heart bombing here. Thank you. For those of us who are a little younger, we're taking things more for granted, and we're trying to find our way here in this world where we've been taught you can do anything if you just want it hard enough, if you just do, everything that you can. And here, guys, there's a little bit of a distortion here, because many of us were told, oh, you just got to think positive, and then positive things are going to happen. And this has created a bit of a sort of fake positivity. We can see this really clear in the New Age community, where negative feelings, negative emotions are basically shunned, are basically judged. And that's something that, when growing up in such an reality where we begin to question our own feelings, and where we think that there's something wrong with us because we are having heaviness or sadness or negative feelings altogether, that does not really promote us to develop a really deep sense of self, and not to mention, of course, the self-esteem and the confidence that we need to step out into this world and present that which we have to offer to the world. At the core of our manifestation power is indeed, like so many times, and for really all subjects of consciousness, our ability to discern truth, our ability to navigate through this world with a steadfast perception that allows us to find what works for us, what doesn't, what is true to us, what doesn't. And I know I sound like a broken record because I talk about this every week, but this cannot be said enough, because when it comes to manipulation, and this is why I don't really like talking about conspiracy theories, because there has always been manipulation, guys. We are subjugated to, larger control mechanisms on all levels of our lives. So to believe that everybody on this planet is just acting according to the best or the good for all is a bit naive. It's not very sophisticated. That doesn't mean that everybody is a controller, manipulator, or evil, or that evil forces are constantly trying to hijack or to possess your soul. The truth is probably in the middle. But as I pointed out so many times before, it is the seduction of our own ego, the things that we need to cope with some of the uncomfortable, the challenging things in our lives that help us to get through, that help us to get past our pain, that motivate us to face our fears and so forth. Those are all coping mechanisms, all right, and therefore they are all, handled, regulated by our ego. And obviously, nobody likes pain, nobody likes challenges, nobody likes fear. And so these two prerogatives of the ego, which is avoiding pain and seeking pleasure, those are what seduces us into believing untruths, into falling or even being victimized by entities, people, partners, parents sometimes, bosses, friends who don't really have truth and the best of the intentions. Okay, so this is part of the reality that we are facing, and I often talk about the 9 or 8 out of 10 that will not be compatible with how you see the world and with your truth and the depth of how you perceive your own emotions. These 8 to 9 people out of 10, what they will do is they will try to convince you of their reality. They will try to convince you of what is best for them, or what helps them to cope best. So I don't want to demonize or vilify these control mechanisms that other people, entities use, because for the most part they come from their egos and their self-preservation. So I know this is not a very popular stance, but when you come in with this understanding that everybody is really just here to survive to a certain degree, okay, then you understand why the world is the way it is, and you don't need to question whether this is all directed towards you, whether this is all personal. It's not, okay? So in order to navigate through this world and to increase your manifestation power and to have a really strong sort of truth GPS, heart navigator. You need to be willing to face those things that are the way they are. Okay, and this is where consciousness work and also energy work and energy healing comes in, because it can bypass a lot of our preconditioned emotions and beliefs that often holding us back. And when those are installed by our partners or by our bosses or by our parents, basically, when we are still surrounded, when we are exposed to these control systems, it's really, really, really hard to navigate through this. And so there is a need for you to learn new ways. Okay, this is the theme for this next week, along with the title that I gave it. I gave it Game Over, Reset, New Game is On. And what is this new game? That's your game. That is where you step in with your heart strategy, with your heart navigator, where you say, I may not see this all correctly. I may not see the whole big picture entirely. But based on what this feels like to me, based on how this allows me to expand, how this allows me to express, I am going this route. It's okay to make mistakes. I'm not afraid of making mistakes. Any experience is a learning experience and will therefore improve and refine my way. All right. So this is something, especially if you're younger, that is often judged, and people are just talking about how to avoid everything. Avoidance is not a good strategy, because it won't really teach you what works for you and what doesn't. And if you externalize your power too much to others, your friends, your parents, your country that you live in, the controlling mechanisms there, or some of the people, like your loved ones or people that you admire, or gurus and so forth, then you will not be able to see through that. And you will end up questioning your own sanity, your own sense of self, your own reality. Okay. And why is this so important for your manifestation power? Because the fears of facing things, the willingness to overcome challenges, the tenacity, the confidence, the things that we need to manifest, they come from making mistakes. They come from this constant correction, through sort of bumping against boundaries. Last week I said, in order to get to the other side of the bridge, you're going to have to walk over the bridge. And that bridge is one that is not static. It's actually developing every day. So every new perception, every new contemplation, every new insight is going to help you to see the bridge, to walk the bridge, and especially to see the light, to see the vision, to see yourselves on the other side of the bridge. So when it comes to manifestation powers, not your willpower, not your ability to control your reality, but your ability to manifest, to create a reality that is most conducive for you, that allows you to be here fully with your entirety, with your entire essence of who you are. And also perhaps, and this is the big subject here for these coming months till the end of the year, finding new ways of making living, finding new ways of living, especially in conjunction with how you can accomplish, how you can achieve more freedom, more liberty. Many of you want to live a life where they can determine their own schedule, where they're not tied to these very rigid structures in their lives. Perhaps even where you can travel more, where you can experience more. But at the same time, of course, you have to have the money for this. And so this requires you to have a strategy that allows you to put all this together, to unify all this, and this is where the bridge comes in. The bridge is also not just a path or a walkway, it's also something that can produce the glue for you, something that can make you see how you can get all these seemingly conflicting or contradicting parts in you together. All right. So any type of fear, any type of doubting yourself, judging yourself, judging your own reality, judging your own capabilities, your own self-worth, decreases your manifestation power. So that means, and you have to really understand this, that no matter how great your ideas are, no matter how great your conditions are that you've created, no matter how much money you have, really, most of you, get all wrapped up in the lack of money or the lack of resources that you need to manifest things. But let me tell you, it makes no difference. No matter how well you think you can control this and how much willpower you have, if you are fear-based in your alignment, if you are afraid of losing things, if you are afraid of, not feeling secure in the future, if you're afraid of embarrassment, if you're afraid of not getting validation from others, then your manifestation power will be very, very low. And I see this a lot here in my practice, as a mentor, as a coach. People come to me and say, I have all these fantastic ideas and I've done so much already and I'm getting tired. What is it that is holding me back? And I'm telling you guys, there's nothing wrong with you or your skills. It's mostly the dependencies and the externalizations that you've allowed. So you've allowed other people or systems to make you feel that there's something wrong with you. You've allowed them to control your reality. And this unfortunately happens on this really large scale. And we see this in the collective, through this unveiling of truth everywhere. Okay, so remember that you can only develop a long-term strategy for success if you know where your energy goes and what your energy is subjugated to. And then it's not a matter of willpower, it's not a matter of self-control, it's a matter of claiming that control back. All right, and saying, okay, you know what, I may have some things that I still need to work out. Yeah, I may have made some mistakes in the past. That's all right. I'm moving on. I'm claiming my free will to determine this. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with learning. I'm okay with correcting. And I'm becoming as adaptable as I can be. And another subject here for this week is also learning how to really bring these two concepts together. This need, and it's almost like a sudden emergence in all of us. It's a really strong surge right now to get out of dependencies, to liberate yourself. All right, but to get this into union, to unify this also with the need to be more connected with others. It starts, of course, with your inner connection, and that's why I talk so much about true self and so forth, and how to really manifest from your heart and not from your mind, and how solar plexus, your willpower can only get you so far, and you have to get the radiance of your heart involved, that basically communicates to the universe who you are and not what you want or what you desire. Not that there's anything wrong with wants and desires, but you got to understand that the manifestation power of desires is very low because it really triggers the need in you to maintain status quo. And status quo, guys, is what's being challenged here this next week, and that's why the energy barometer, which you guys here on Instagram can't see right now, is again a bifurcated arrow. It's in the green for those of you who can see all this and understand this and intuitively go into this grounding and centering with yourself. And it can be really, really red for the collective, for other people who don't understand that they're being mind controlled and that their sense of reality is being manipulated. Okay, so there's a collective gaslighting going on, and this is being brought to the forefront here, guys. Everything that is coming forward here in this following week will be pivotal. It will be pivotal for the next year and a half. Okay, so let's just really go as individuals into this willingness to claim your own sense of truth and don't fall for this anymore, because the things that are being unveiled right now, literally, if they can get away with this now, it's going to be like this for the next year and a half. The same for you, in your life. This is all about you developing a long-term strategy, and this has a lot to do with your financial security, with your physical security. A lot of people thinking about health insurance and stuff like this right now. For good reason, because you have to have a long-term strategy for you feeling safe in this world, so that you can trust, in this learning process, and have enough courage to really go out there. All right. So really, really look at this manipulation of your sense of reality, of your sense of self, where you feel denigrated, where you feel dehumanized, where you feel objectified, where you feel crazy made and gaslit. So the energy tips here today will be a special of how to detect gaslighting and what it does to us for the Patreon supporters and heart warriors. Yes, Herbal Goddess, and it's really true. You will know, and you will feel this in your heart, the whole you, and nothing will stop you, even if it feels impossible. Thank you for this super, super encouraging message to others. This is what we need to do for another, guys, and each and every one of us who steps up and says, I get it, I'm not perfect. This is not about painting a perfect picture of me or performing in a certain way. This is making me crazy, trying to perform, trying to outperform others, or trying to keep up the wheel. All right, break the wheel, guys. Break the wheel, step up, and that will encourage others. And one more thing here, because this is coming up really, there's a lot of envy, a lot of bullying, a lot of gossiping, a lot of sort of secret enemies right now that you will feel surrounded by. And yes, it's true. And also the bullies. And you know what? The best way to counteract that is by exposing them. And when you have to witness bullying or other people manipulating other people, sure, sometimes it's not your job to do this. But if you are in this configuration, if you somehow playing a part in this arrangement, then remember that by not saying something, you becoming complicit. The best way to stop that for yourself and others is to just expose it, to say it out loud. Hey, this is manipulation. You're being gaslit. This is a full-on crazy making that this person is doing there. Sometimes that's all it takes, guys. Exposure, so that everybody can hear it. And that then takes away the power from those who are trying to manipulate you. Okay? Yes, you know me. I can go on a rant here. So for next week, remember, long-term strategy. Long-term strategies for success always have to come from the heart. They have to represent your essence. They have to represent who you truly are, what you truly feel. If you are not sure, and this is one of the abuse symptoms, if you've been manipulated for a long time, if you have been gaslit for a long time, okay, then you may not know. This is the time when you need help and you need to reach out. You can reach out to your trusted friends and say, guys, I need reality check. Help me to regain this sense. All right. But of course, people like myself, professionals who are trained to do this with you, to lead you back to your own sense of reality, that's what you perhaps need to do. Self-help groups are always fantastic. And of course, this is a big part here of what I do at transCODES. Mindfulness, learning how to meditate, learning how to calm down, learning how to slow your time perception so that you're not in this constant cortisol, adrenaline rush, and that you feel like you have more space. Okay, so you don't always need to make decisions. You can also just focus on how to shift your energy and how to create more space. All right. As always, with the energy updates, I'm closing with the giveaway for the week. And the giveaway for this week is tickets for the Grace Manifestation Energy Healing Session. Obviously, as the name says, it's a modality that allows you to remove things that are holding you back, but especially to strengthen yourself in what it actually is that makes up your manifestation power. So it's a modality that helps you to increase your vibratory rate and therefore increase your manifestation power. That's next Tuesday, the 21st. of May at 5 p.m. US Eastern Time. So 3 of you have won a ticket for the Grace Manifestation session on Tuesday. Please send me your email address so that I can send you those instructions. Awesome. Sorry for all Facebook users who were waiting for the live that didn't work out. Guys, have a wonderful week. Make this a green week for you. There's a lot of opportunity in this. And my closing words for you are, guys, learn how to master your own energy. Learn how to shift your energy so that you don't fall prey. And don't let yourself get dragged down by some of the stuff that you feel right now, because it's very erratic. So one day you'll feel like super energized, and the next day you'll feel tired. That's all part of this adaptation, to these higher vibratory energies that are coming in right now. See this as an invitation. See this as sort of the remembrance to finally rock up. Okay? Have a wonderful week, everybody. Bye-bye.